Buy, thrift, make, or pass. Spring Summer 2023 edition, colorful trends. In the world of sustainable fashion, fashion trends often get a bad rap. This comes from that consumeristic need to buy everything just because it's trendy and get rid of it as soon as it's not. But in reality, sustainable fashion should be about buying things that you know you're going to love, wear for a long time, and help you to express the unique person that you are through your wardrobe and daily outfits. That means trends can actually be a really powerful tool for discovering new things that you might love and getting inspired for new ways to wear pieces that might already be in your closet. Hi, my name is Rebecca and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where we do not believe that sustainable fashion needs to be synonymous with boring fashion. This series that we're kicking off is called Buy, Make, Thrift, or Pass, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We're going to be evaluating spring trends, specifically today, the colors that are trending for Spring Summer 23, as we saw on the runways, and evaluating whether we think they're worth buying new potentially if it's something that's going to be really impactful to your wardrobe, whether you should thrift them or buy them secondhand, whether it's something that might be fun to make or upcycle depending on your skill level, or whether we just should pass on this trend altogether. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll see more fabulous content with maximum style impact. And if you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up, and you can find me, of course, on all social channels at Rebecca in Europe. I post here on YouTube long form videos every Thursday, but I generally post shorts as well every day, so make sure you check that out for a little bit of style and making advice along the way. And the first colorful trend that we're going to get into for this season is lime green. I love limes. Now, as you can see from the rack behind me, I have a lot of lime green already in my wardrobe. I think the reason why I have so much lime green is we had this really strong emerald green trend a few years ago, and that seems to have kept just kind of percolating through all of the different fashion collections. And the way that it came out this season was really a broad spectrum of greens, because when you say lime green, you're probably looking at this and one of these colors jumps out to you as being lime green. However, when we look at the runways, it really was a broad spectrum of generally lighter greens, kind of spanning from more of the neon range into some of the pastels, and then a lot of that candy apple green is still kind of continuing to be in there. I sound like a weatherman. So when it comes to lime green, are we gonna buy it, thrift it, make it, or pass? I'm going to put lime green into the thrift or make in terms of upcycling category. I'm gonna say thrift because this is a color or kind of group of colors that's either really in or it's really out, which means due to just kind of how general consumer shop, you're gonna find that people get rid of it a lot because they don't think it's as in anymore. But if it's a color that speaks to you, of course it's always gonna be in. So let me show you some examples from my wardrobe. Now this might almost be considered more of a neon, and it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it really does kind of fall in that lime green category. This is an H&M dress that I've had for several years. It's super sheer, and it's really, really fabulous and amazing. And I got it a few years ago. I absolutely love it. If I was somebody who really followed trends, I probably would have gotten rid of it at this point. And so if you're looking for secondhand fashion, there should be a lot of things in kind of this colorway from even like fast fashion retailers out and about on the secondhand market. So don't be afraid to buy something secondhand that's fast fashion and keep it circulating in your wardrobe for years to come. This is truly one of my favorite dresses. I'm like never gonna get rid of it. So you will not be buying it secondhand from me. Now next up, I'm gonna show you this vintage suit that I have that I thrifted for like a handful of dollars back in the States. It's kind of that true pastel-y, I wouldn't say mint, like I would say this still is in the lime green family, but due to the fact that this color does come in and out of fashion a lot, you're gonna be able to find pieces at the thrift store really easily that are true vintage, that fit that color story, and that potentially you might be able to tweak and make feel really special and new in your wardrobe. When it comes to upcycling this trend, I got this Proenza Schooler dress secondhand a little while ago, and it's too small, so this is going to be a really fun one to play around with and upcycle. This is kind of early 2010s, early 2000s, I'd say, for this particular piece. So you can see this color was really popular, and this is truly going into kind of that super lime category. But again, this doesn't fit, so this will be super fun to upcycle. I also have this Rachel Comey jumpsuit that is true lime. It's fabulous, that I bought secondhand several years ago. And it's linen and amazing, but something about the pant shape just doesn't feel super modern to me anymore. It just kind of tapers in and feels very like 2010s in a way that makes me cringe, not in a way that I'm nostalgic for. So for this, I'm actually thinking of turning it into a romper, because since it is linen, it is lighter weight, and I don't love the way the leg fits, we could do something really fun here to turn it into shorts, and I know I would wear that a ton more. So those are my two upcycling options for this particular trend of lime green. And then the last thing that I'll talk about for this particular color trend of lime green is how to style it and how to take inspiration from the runways and wear it out and about. One of my favorite ways to wear lime green is inspired by the Fendi Spring Summer 23 runway. On the runway, Kim Jones incorporated apple green, which is kind of like this green, a lot of camels and tans in that super lime green color, as well as some pastel greens in a really, really beautiful way. I absolutely love the way that contrast looks. Even with like a true camel, a tan, as you can see, these colors pop really well next to it, and it feels really fresh and interesting and new, and is a really fun way to layer it. When we think about carrying these trends forward into the fall, neutrals are a big thing. We're talking a lot about like 90s understated luxury in the fall, which we'll get into that when we get into that. But when we think about all of these neutrals that are popping up, a way to make them more interesting and not be super boring and just wearing like gray or beige is to take your lime green pieces and pair that with some of those neutrals and really make them pop. So I think this can be a really fun accent color as well to incorporate in your wardrobe. Oh, and one last thing I almost forgot from the make side of things is when I was looking at how much this was popping up on the runway, I just like crocheted a little bralette thing. And this is a couple different shades of green, because the point being pretty much all of the colors in that green family, again, from neon to pastel to kind of that candy apple green, and even I would say your emerald, are still very much on trend. So something fun to add in to be able to wear over something like this, and you're just gonna feel really fresh and stylish and fabulous. Buy, thrift, make, or pass color number 2 for spring 2023. Can you guess what it is? Silver. Since you can see that I don't have much in my wardrobe, you might think that this is a pass for me. However, the way silver is being styled in this particular season invites us to kind of thwart traditional fashion trends and wear silver in the daytime, not just for evening, which is something I absolutely love. So this is a huge thrift for me. I think this is actually something that should be kind of a fun exploration as well, because there are so many pieces, the early 2000s, that were just fabulous silver, satin, much more a dressed up kind of evening vibe that you can dress down. A great example of this is actually the trousers that I'm wearing are Donna Karan. I'll show you, that I got for like 20 bucks secondhand. They're wide leg, they're amazing, but I'm absolutely gonna wear them for daytime. And what a fun way to incorporate that trend into my wardrobe. And I'm just gonna keep wearing them, you know, even when the trend moves on, but it's a way of incorporating that trend that's very much my style and something that isn't going to be something I want to get rid of at the end of the season. This is also going to be a big make for me as well, because I, again, don't have much silver in my wardrobe, but I love the idea of playing around with fabrics that look kind of like, almost like chainmail. So I'm wearing this old paillette skirt from Zara. Again, just because it's fast fashion doesn't mean that you should just throw it away. You can absolutely keep and wear things. But I've been wearing it a lot as a boob tube or as a crop top lately, and I really love it. It has a very much a Paco Rabanne feeling to it. That's super fun, and that I'm really drawn to, again, for daytime instead of for evening. I also buy a lot of dead stock fabric. Almost all of my fabric that I do buy is either dead stock or some sort of home good to upcycle. And because this is such a big trend, I was able to get this dead stock silver fabric that's absolutely incredible. It's super shiny, and it almost looks like a chainmail. So I'm really excited to play around with this and have this be something that's actually layered up a couple of times potentially to play around with the sheerness of it. But the drape is just stunning, and again, it has some pretty interesting, has a really interesting weave to it. So this is a trend that I plan on wearing, plan on making some things for since I think I've thrifted everything that I want in this particular color. And how are we going to style our fabulous thrifted finds that are silver, or the things that we're making that are silver? Well, we're going to style them with different textures and different shapes that really dress them down and anchor them in daytime. I like what I'm wearing here, because this is just an oversized t-shirt shape that's actually made out of it was, well, fabric that was meant to reupholster my couch. That's another story. But basically anchoring again with something else that also feels like it's a dressier fabric, but in a very simple shape. So I would love to see like metallic tweed hoodies, phenomenal. Your satin pants worn with just a t-shirt would be fantastic. But really just try to dress everything down. I have a silver dress. I'm not sure if it fits or not, but has kind of that similar early 2000s satiny finish to it, and that would be amazing with just like an oversized hoodie. So lots of different ideas for how to style this particular trend. Buy, make, thrift, or pass. The next color is red. This is not going to be our orangey tomato red. This is going to be more of a true blue red, and this for me is going to be a pass. Yes, I have a lot of red in my wardrobe. It's a color that's like, if people are going to have one color in their wardrobe, they're probably going to have red. There's nothing really that feels special about this season. If you don't have red in your wardrobe, it's really easy to find vintage pieces that are this true red. This was big in the 2010s. There's a lot of stuff that you can find secondhand that's a true red. I'm just not excited about it, so I'm going to be passing on it this season. It's not being styled in an interesting way. I didn't see it in a silhouette that made me go, oh my gosh, I need to now find something to put in my wardrobe. So I'm just going to stick with how I've been wearing red in the past, and this particular trend is just not it for me this year. Buy, thrift, make, or pass. Last but not least, Cobalt Blue. Drum roll. Before I tell you what my answer is for this particular colorway for spring summer 2023, I'm going to tell you a quick story, because I went through and was like, oh, I must have so much cobalt in my wardrobe, because I think of all of these times where I wore cobalt blue. And the irony is, when I went back and looked at the many times that I have worn cobalt blue, they were all three pieces. A sweater that is currently packed away because the seasons are changing. These Zara trousers that I've had for like going on like 9 years now, something like that. And then my absolute favorite thing that I own, this Givenchy, I think it's like 2014 jumpsuit that I got secondhand. Had a friend help me take in back when I didn't know how to sew. Truly, this is my most worn item in my entire wardrobe. If you've been following along my sewing journey, you also know that I made these fabulous blue trousers. They're not quite a cobalt all the way through, but I'd say this outside piece is fairly cobalt-ish. Moral of the story, cobalt blue is one of my favorite colors to wear. So are we buying it? Are we making it? Are we thrifting it? Or are we passing on it? I don't think that we're going to see tons of cobalt this year. It did show up on some runways, but I honestly just don't see cobalt having a huge moment in quite the same way it did kind of mid 2010s, when it had this just really huge wave of cobalt on the runways for a couple of years. So that being said, if you love cobalt blue, I would be on the hunt to buy this secondhand all of the time. I would just set a reminder on whatever your favorite secondhand shopping platform is. Mine happens to be Vestiaire, and try to snag something if it shows up and it's cobalt blue. Would I go and seek out anything new to buy that's cobalt blue? I honestly don't think you're going to have tons of options, so I don't think this is going to be something that you need to necessarily go and seek out. I will be curious, for those of us who do so, to see if there's more cobalt blue fabric kind of lying around. But actually, now that I think about it, I do have a couple more meters of this blue fabric. I do have some cut out for some other pieces already. I only had 6 meters. It was a dead stock roll that was just really super cool. Same with the yellow. So I think for me, this is maybe going to be a make, but I'm not really going to focus on cobalt blue being something that I'm injecting in my wardrobe. So for me, this is going to probably be a pass on the particular color, But one thing that you may be thinking if you were looking at this Givenchy jumpsuit and thinking, huh, that looks very like workwear. Well, if you look on, I think Etsy is a great place to look if you're shopping online. There's something called Bugatti Blue, which was used in French workwear for a long time. So this cobalt blue color is actually very common in vintage workwear pieces. So if you are looking for a way to incorporate in your wardrobe, that might be a great option for something to look up. So for our first episode of Buy, Make, Thrift, or Pass, in reverse order, we have Cobalt, which is going to be a pass or maybe a thrift if you're gonna look up some of that workwear. We have Red, which is also gonna be a pass for me. We have Silver, which is going to be an incredible thrift or potentially make, and if you really love something, this might be something that's worth buying something new. And then lastly, we have Lime, which is going to be a great thrift and a great opportunity to do some upcycling. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like this and stay tuned for the next episode, which is going to be Buy, Make, Thrift, or Pass, covering the big overarching trends for spring, summer 2023. My name is Rebecca. Thank you so much for watching, and